Hey, I'm Andy Chanley from 88.5, the SoCal Sound. I'm at South by Southwest for a SoCal Sound interview with Genesis Owusu. It's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, man.
It's actually Kofi, right?
Yeah.
I was reading, there's a story about the genesis of Genesis. Your older brother is a performer as well, well known in Australia. How did the name come about?
The name came about when I was in primary school, elementary school. My name's Kofi, but everyone back then pronounced it like coffee, like the drink.
Right.
And my brother and I started catching the same bus. He was like 5 years older than me, and all of his friends were like, "What's his name? What's his name?" And he said Coffee. And apparently they just didn't believe him, and they just kept badgering him. And apparently the first name that he thought of to get them off his back was Genesis. And then it kind of just stuck from there.
And it's stuck all these years.
Yeah.
That's great. So excited. If you're listening to 88.5 the SoCal Sound, you've heard Gold Chains from a couple years ago, and from the middle of this last year, the new track. Well, I guess maybe some people saw it first on a Apple ad, but Get Inspired. The moment I heard it, I'm like, I couldn't wait to go get it on the radio.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's a rite of passage, for Ting Tings and Feist and so forth. That takes you from here and brings you to another level around the world. Have you had that reaction of people knowing the song from that exposure?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. Like kind of walking into spaces, especially when I'm performing, and I'm very used to having to win new people over because I'm a relatively new artist. But when that song starts, I can see like the light bulb kind of flip on.
He's that
like,
guy. He's the Get Inspired guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy. It's too late for this year's NFL season, but for football season this fall, if the networks don't get on using that song for interstitials, that's a miss. I was also reading about your recent tour, going out and playing places with 40-piece orchestras.
Oh yeah.
And blowing the roof off dumps. One person I read a review that he said, I started smiling with the first song, and I had a goofy grin on my face the entire time. It just sounds joyous. I don't know who pays the dry cleaning bill for that, but it sounds like you're having a good time on tour.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. It's just a two show, twice in a lifetime event, because it's very hard to keep a 40-piece orchestra everywhere you go. But we did one in Brisbane, and then I came here, and now I'm flying back tonight so I can make it to the Sydney one at the Sydney Opera House, of all places, sold out. It's going to be magical. It was a magical experience.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Electric Light Orchestra at the Hollywood Bowl, and there was like an orchestra behind him, and songs that and you enjoy, but then with that punch behind it, was there a learning curve? I know they're all professional musicians, but was there a bunch of stodgy, classically trained musicians who were like, "You want us to play what?" Or was it more organic than that?
Like you said, they were professionals, but it was definitely funny, watching them play my songs like "Get the F Out," things like that. But no, by the end of the show, like they were loving it. It was really awesome. It was more of like a kind of learning curve for me because they're so professional. Like a lot of the time I kind of like to like kind of freestyle a bit, go here, go there, but then like the sheet is in front of me and we're sticking to that. Like we're not going anywhere else.
It's like the ultimate click track. You've got to be with the orchestra.
Yeah. But it was really awesome.
That's great. So what are the next steps? You just said you're going back to Sydney to play the Opera House, but what's in the offing?
Finishing album number 2.
And you already have some material in the can for that?
It's pretty much there.
Nice.
Finishing album number 2. Be coming back in May. I'm supporting Paramore on their tour, doing my first Madison Square Gardens, which is going to be crazy. Yeah, and then, release some singles, album will come out, and then I'll have the world in my palms.
Yeah. Everybody looks at somebody like you who, I mean, when did you first start performing?
I actually had a Facebook memory come up the other day, and it was as of about like 10. Oh, no, it actually would have been as of like today or something. As of the 15th of March, that was my first ever performance in 2013.
Wow.
So I would have been in year 10 at the time.
So 10.
It's been 10 years.
Exactly a decade, like yesterday.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. So a decade journey for you, but for a lot of people, like you say, when you go to these shows and they're like, oh, you're that guy.
Yeah.
It's overnight success. How have you gotten around how you arrange that in your head?
I think it's great because, like, for them, it's an introduction, but for me, like, I've been doing this, I'm polished. Like, so it's I would much rather prefer that than for me to feel like I'm still, like, sloppy and, like, learning my way around, while I'm trying to break into new countries and stuff like that. Like,
make all your mistakes when nobody's watching, and then know what's going on.
Exactly.
That's great.
Exactly. By the time I get out here, like, this is headliner material, baby.
It's great to meet you. When's the new record? When do you ballpark that it's going to come out?
I think around maybe like September-ish.
All right. So end of this year, maybe we'll get some new tracks from Genesis Kofi, and then come around Los Angeles on tour next May. And when you do, you got to come by and see us. Maybe have a session. We could have some fun. I don't know if I'm university. They're not going to spring for a 40-piece orchestra, but we'll see what we can do. All the best to you. You're one of the people that I was most excited to meet here at South by Southwest, and we wish nothing but success for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Genesis Owusu. It's 88.5, the SoCal Sound, live at South by Southwest.